You were always better with your fists than with your singing.
And you are as beautiful as you were in Kefalonia.
I was covered in mud half the time. Still am. Life of a farmer, I suppose.
I got your note. How did you know I was in Arcadia?
Everyone's hunting for the Mystios with the broken spear and pet eagle. So I started a little hunt of my own.
No matter where I used to hide on Kefalonia, you were the only one who could always find me.
That's because you were terrible at hiding.
Maybe you only found me because I wanted you to.
Listen, we both know I was the one who was best at hiding. I'll prove it. Stay here. Close your eyes, and at the count of 10, come and find me.
You're joking.
Come, it'll be like old times. And no using Icaros, that's cheating. Now, close your eyes.
It's weird that people know that she can do that with the bird.
Δύο, τρία, τέσσερα, πέντε, έξι, εφτά, οχτώ, εννέα, δέκα! Ready or not, here I come!
Alright, well, I mean, she went out here. So, hello everybody, welcome back to Odyssey. Back on the main path here. You know, I actually don't know which one of these weapons I have equipped right now. No, this one must be, yeah. As you can see, I did change my armor. I put the Brightest armor back on since it was a bit more, you know, real world.
Your tracking skills have improved.
It feels like forever since we've seen each other. I couldn't wait to find you.
When did you become so charming?
Since I got your note.
Oh, this is too much fun. I want to hear everything about your life, from the day I left until now.
And I want to hear about yours.
Oh, my story would put you to sleep. Come, let's go to the beach and talk like we used to in Sami.
So yeah, this is Old Flames Burn Brighter, which is a, as you can see, Kassandra reuniting with somebody from Kefalonia. I'm honestly a little curious how this will play out, because the way they make it out to be right is that Kassandra, or Alexios, I'm assuming, obviously is supposed to have feelings for this person. So the fact that they're, like, so what I'm wondering is if it's always a female or not. Because, I mean, if so, then they're still gonna, I would imagine, have the same complaints that they had with the Legacy of the First Blade DLC, where they're forcing you into a specific relationship style, or into a specific orientation, depending on which character you're playing. Which, once again, I went over that a bunch in one of the DLCs, and, like, I don't care that they did that. There it is. Let's go with that one. That one looks a bit more realistic. Because, like I said, it's their story. It's not a custom-made character. It is a pre-made character that has pre-made, like, personalities and everything. So, I mean, it's up to them where they want to take the characters, because it's not like any of your choices really make too much of a difference. But I would imagine that they would have issues, or that the same people would have issues with that. Although, granted, it's never a problem if a character gets railroaded into being gay or lesbian. It's only a problem if they're forced to be straight, because, you know, that's the bad way, apparently. Sadly enough. Because, you know, it's only equality if the one side has an advantage. So, yeah, I don't know how long this DLC is going to play. I really don't know, like, where this DLC is going to go. As far as I'm aware, this is the second last Lost Tale of Greece, just based on, like, ones that have been said.
Your life sounds so exciting. But there's something very important I need to know. Can you still hold your breath? On Kefalonia, you could always swim farther and deeper than anyone else. You used to bring me the most beautiful treasures from the sea.
Don't move.
Were they supposed to be having a conversation during that? I would imagine that yes, but because this is a Lost Tale, odds are you can do it at any point. And then it would have taken a lot more work to program in different responses based on what exactly it is you've done. Oh shit, that's right. I don't have breathed water on my bow anymore because I had to keep changing out the engraving based on the different DLCs. Oh. Shark over there, I'm guessing. Oh, there's a shark right fucking there too. That's fine. Come on. Come on. Oh, fuck off, shark. Oh, shit. Come on. Why is my sword poisoned? Come here. There we go. I might have to, well, I don't know. I was going to say I might have to put that engraving back on, but once again, I don't know how much I'm going to actually be playing. Like, I don't know, because like, once again, I think I went over this at one point, right, where it's like Origins, I would love to replay Origins, but there's two reasons that I won't. One, the combat in Odyssey is so much better, it would really feel wonky to go back to it. And two, it's just too long of a game. I mean, like, it took me almost a full year, granted that was at one video a week, to fucking do my Let's Play in it. So that's 52 hours almost. Well, I mean, because I doubled up and tripled up on some of them, so I mean, that's like how many hours, like, and that was in video, that was just main quests and side quests. It didn't even count all the time that I spent running around, which I would obviously do again because I can't help myself.
You were underwater so long, I was getting...
I wasn't coming up for air until I found the perfect gift.
It's beautiful. You warm my heart like the sunrise.
Go
I
with this
didn't
one.
know how much you meant to me until I watched you sail away.
We're here now, together. That's all that matters.
Was it that bad?
I mean, considering you're still in armor with your sword, it might have been.
Seeing you, playing and laughing like old times.
Of course.
There's something I haven't told you. I'm married.
I see.
I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry. Meet me back at the house. I'll explain everything.
I mean, that really shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I mean, like, she's been gone for apparently a very long time. And I mean, this is ancient Greece. I mean, people got married off constantly here. Really? You're not just gonna... Good God. This isn't the first Lost Tale to do this, is it? Where they just, like, stopped. Like, I don't know. If you're gonna have, like, a quest chain, actually chain them together. Like... So, yeah. I'm not sure... Like I said, I'm not sure exactly how this DLC is going to go. It doesn't, like, just like the basis of it, and that doesn't seem like it should be a very combat-heavy one. But and I guess it doesn't have to be, though, right? Because, like, it's a free DLC. So, like, it doesn't have to be very long. Like, the fact that all of them, like, all the Lost Tales... Oh, fucking hell! Are you fucking kidding me? Go away. Stop being a thing. Like, fucking Christ. Stop getting animals to knock the player off their fucking horse when they're going from A to B. Like, Jesus Christ. Patrols on roads are the worst fucking thing in any video game ever. I swear to God, if that pig had knocked me off the horse, I would have just quit the game. I still don't know why my sword is glowing like that. Oh, I guess because it's like a cursed sword or some shit, right? I didn't realize that it came with a glow, but whatever, that's cool. But yeah, like in this game, you have the animals. In fucking Far Cry, you have all the cult patrols everywhere. They're just the worst thing ever, because all it is slowing progress from A to B. And no game has ever actually managed to do it properly. As you can see, I took control there to prevent those ones from knocking me off. And why is there so many this time? Like, fucking hell. I can't tell you how many times in this game I would do this. Like, just hit, go to location, go to marker, and then, like, I would, like, fuck off. Like, I'd go and get a drink or go and grab a snack or some shit. Like, I just wouldn't pay attention. I'd be fine. Like, that's a lot. In Origins, I did it constantly. Like, just from A to B, it's like, just go. Because there was pretty much nothing, really, that knocked you off your horse. Like, as long as you didn't come across a, what were they called? The guys that were hunting you all the time. Like, as long as you didn't pass one of those, you were generally fine.
Oh, I'm glad you came.
So you're married? Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Seeing you brought back so many fond memories. I wanted to live in them for as long as I could. Life's been hard since Dantos left.
Where did he go?
Once the war started, Spartans came for his sword. He was killed in battle, leaving me to run the
So
farm
you're not married anymore,
and
then?
raise our son.
You have a son?
Arion. I'd love for you to meet him, but he's run off again.
Why aren't we looking for him?
He always goes to the same cave, where he trains to be a mighty warrior.
I don't think I've ever met a boy who didn't want to become the next Achilles.
Yes, of course. You've given me an idea. You could talk to him.
I could?
Gods know he doesn't listen to his boring mother. But you've seen death up close. You could convince him to stay away from fighting and help me here on the farm.
All right. I'll talk to your son.
Thank you.
How should I introduce myself without scaring the boy?
Tell him you're a friend of his mother's from Kefalonia. The one with the eagle. The stories I've told him about you are his favorites.
Is there anything about your son's father I should know to help me connect with him?
Dantos broke his finger, working the fields. It healed crooked. When Arion asked about it, my husband said he was so strong as a baby, he grabbed it and snapped it like a twig. This is how we knew he was blessed by Heracles.
I'll find Arion.
My husband used to take him to the cave on hunts. They'd spend nights there. It's been taken over by wolves since then.
Wait. Did you say wolves?
Yes, worries me sick. He calls them his friends and, believe it or not, they seem protective of the boy. Please don't harm them, Kassandra. Arion would be devastated.
Alright. Alright, let's go find this kid. Oh my god, that is so far away. Alright, do I... Oh, thank god. Jesus Christ, that's like 1,000. That's a good fucking distance away. Also, I like how it's like, how did you know I was in Arcadia? I haven't been in Arcadia in so fucking long. I mean, I feel like these DLCs are definitely meant, like the Lost Tales and that, are definitely meant to be played like as you reach the different areas, because a lot of them have to do with you just being there. Like, it's not like, a lot of them also like send you notes, right? And like a lot of the notes are like, hey, you're in, you know, this area, you want to come hang out or whatever, you know? It's like, I could use your assistance, right? Right,
There he is.
And it's like, all right, how the fuck do I get these letters, right? It's like, it makes no sense whatsoever, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, so I mean, they're nice little chunks of story. It seems like they're quest lines that like the developers had the idea for, but didn't have time to implement properly or something, you know? Because like I could see that. Like I could also see it being like a quest line that they're like, you know, this could be like a whole, like I could see them coming up with the idea to like make quest lines but not release them and save them for DLC. I could also very easily see that, but okay, there's nothing there. Oh wait, I saw that. So wolf there, wolf there. Now I'm assuming that whether or not I hurt the wolves will come into play. I'm also assuming that this is fine. Oh. Oh, I think that didn't work. Oh my god. Fucking hitting animals with a bow is way harder than it should be. Or hitting anything with a bow is way harder than it should be. Because, like, they move around in just, like, the weirdest ways possible. Where even if, like, they're standing still like that one was, right? And it was like, alright. And then he just takes, like, that little tiniest of movements.
If they don't attack me, I won't attack them.
I still want to knock him out, though. So, I mean, if I go this way, right? Okay, well, the fact that they did...
Whoa! You look like a mighty warrior!
And you must be Arion. I've come to bring you home.
Why should I trust you?
Your mother and I used to get into trouble back on Kefalonia.
Kefalonia?
We'd sneak into the markets, grab as much cheese and grapes and bread as we could carry. My eagle Icarus kept watch and warned us if there was anyone coming.
You're Kassandra, the eagle bearer?
Your mother trusted me with a very important task of escorting you home through this dangerous forest.
But I don't want to leave.
I know you come here to be close to your father.
You know nothing about my pater.
I know when you were a baby, you broke his finger with the strength of Heracles.
Pater's fingers were big and tough. That's why I trained. To make these hands strong like his.
I understand. But first we need to leave this cave. The wolves are getting hungry.
They never eat me. They're my friends.
Yes, your friends. Let's go anyway. Your mother misses you very much.
If I do, could you teach me to be a mighty warrior?
We'll see. Now come.
I thought the fact that there was a wolf in the cave would come into play during that cutscene. Okay, now since he's with me, right, I should be good. Yeah, the wolf doesn't care. Alright. Good Christ, that is... I mean, I gotta escort him all that way. Ugh. Alright, kid, get on. Hey, where the hell are you going? Oh, he's getting on his own horse. No? Are you getting on mine? Look, either get on your horse or get on my horse. Because I don't want to fucking make you... Good Christ, are you fucking kidding me? I have to run this kid home. Oh my god. That is... Alright, that's just... Ugh. So anyway, since we've got some time, I don't know if I talked about this, but I've been watching a lot of anime lately, right? Because, like, every day at work, right, I got my lunch break, and I go and I sit at McDonald's, and I watch something, right? Like, I watched all the Marvel shows. And then, at one point, I was like, you know what? I want to watch My Hero Academia. It's been a long time since I watched it, and I never really finished it the first time, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to watch it this time. So I did. I watched the first, I think, 2 seasons of it, I want to say. And then I read that, like, there was a movie that's supposed to go in between season 2 and 3. And I've been watching all of Funimation, by the way. I think it's called Funimation now. And I saw it on there, but then but then when I went to watch it the one day, I couldn't find it. So I was like, all right. And then I just haven't finished, like, I haven't turned on season 3 or anything because I want to watch the movie first. So I've been going through different ones. Like, I rewatched the Vandred, which I'm actually not 100% sure I had seen all of it before. I know I watched, like, a good amount of it, but I'm not sure if I'd actually seen all of it. Or all 13 episodes, so it's a good one. But lately I've been watching a lot of isekai animes. What? Billy the Lion. Anyway. Which, if you don't know, it's... I'm not 100% sure what all makes it count as an isekai anime. As far as I'm aware, though, it's, where the hell am I on this map? It's somebody from the real world, usually Japan, gets pulled into an alternate world that has video game mechanics attached to it. Now, whether or not they're actually pulled into a game or not doesn't seem to make a difference. Like, for example, Sword Art Online is considered an Isekai one, and they're just straight up in a video game. But then I watched one called That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, and that's, once again, gets pulled into the world reincarnated as a slime, obviously, and a lot of video game mechanics, and they talk in a lot of, like, video game mechanic terms, like when a monster gains a name, they evolve and they get more powerful, right? It's like, but it's not, outside of, like, the main character is, like, a great sage ability, which kind of talks as, like, a narrator tutorial for him. Which adds to, like, the video game aspect, but it, like, nobody in there refers to, like, level or anything. They're like, oh, they're powerful and whatnot, but, like, they don't refer to level. But then you get other ones, like my favorite one, which was Death March to a Parallel World, where, like, level up skills, like, all that is an actual thing. Like, the kid even has a HUD. I really like that one. That was my favorite one. But lately I've been watching Rise into the Shield Hero. And that guy gets shit on constantly in the first 4 episodes.
Anyone after me, Mater. I can take care of myself.
I know you can, my love.
You told her about me, Mater. She knew things.
I did. She wanted to know all about you, so you weren't scared of going with her.
I wasn't scared. I was brave.
Thank you for bringing him home.
I'm really curious if I could have walked into that cave.
What are you smiling about?
I was just thinking about how I could possibly repay you for bringing Arion home to me.
I'm sure I could think of a few things.
Name your price, Mistios.
Oh god, a tour of your bedroom, 1 kiss for every day we've been apart. That would take a long time by the sounds of it. Let's go with this one.
All this time together, and you haven't shown me where you sleep.
I'll show you a better spot, but we won't be sleeping.
God. I like how they bring up early on that's like, oh, but I'm married. And then it's like, oh, by the way, he's dead.
You've awakened a part of me I thought I'd lost. I know you've already done so much for me, but if there's just one more thing you could do.
I'm not sure I can stand up.
Arion wants to be a mighty warrior, but I can't lose any more of my family to war.
If Arion learns to fight, he can protect you and the farm.
I can't work this farm alone. He won't listen to me, but he looks up to you. I can see it in his eyes.
I'll talk to him. But I don't think he's as fond of me as you are.
You flatter yourself. Just show him how to plant seeds, burn some old grass, maybe slaughter a few chickens. It will seem more exciting coming from you.
Will it? I feel like it's hard to make that seem exciting. I mean, you just listed, like, a few very boring tasks, like...
Hello.
What's wrong?
I miss my pater.
Want to talk about it?
No.
Okay, you don't have to talk. But you can listen if you want.
I guess.
I lost my father when I was young. I ran far, far away. My only friend in the world was Icarus. One day, a bully threw a rock and nearly broke his wing.
What did you do?
I cut off his fingers. With this.
The spear of Leonidas? Can I hold it?
You can. But first, I need you to do me a favor. Your mother needs you.
You're going to train me to be a mighty warrior?
Your mother wants you to become a farmer. And that's what I'm going to teach you.
But farming is so boring. I want to be a warrior like you.
Whenever I see the sunrise, I'm never sure I'll get to see it set. I walk away from the people I love knowing it might be the last time I ever see them again. Is that the life you want? Good. Now follow me. Ever heard of the poet Isiodos?
No, but I know Homer and Achilles, and Hector, and Odysseus, and the giant horse.
Study Homer if you want to learn to put people in the ground. But study Siodos, and you'll learn to grow things out of it.
Boring.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, farming is one of those things where it's super important, but it's really hard to make it fun, you know?
Why?
For new life to grow, we need to clear away the old.
Why?
Because they choke the earth, stopping new plants from growing.
Why?
Because!
I mean, it's a
Now
kid,
I'm
what'd you
going to show
expect?
you how to kill a chicken.
But I love chickens.
If you're going to feed your family, you're going to have to sacrifice a few chickens. You don't have to kill any today, but watch carefully how I do it. Clean and precise.
Okay. I guess I should probably do this. So I have a feeling knocking out the chicken wouldn't do anything. Also, I'm poisoning the fuck out of these chickens. Wow, that actually... Alright. That actually went a lot better than I thought it would.
What happened to the bully whose fingers you cut off?
He went and got his brothers. They beat me pretty badly.
You didn't have any friends to protect you?
Not until one little girl stood between me and those boys, and with the rage of Ares, screamed at them to leave me alone.
Really? A girl? Who?
That little girl was me.
Mater? Kassandra taught me how to be a farmer, but you could teach me how to be brave.
Maybe one day I will.
Yeah, she taught me about Isiados. She taught me to burn the old, cause it chokes the new. And then she killed a bunch of chickens.
It sounds like you both had a productive day.
Your boy is a fast learner.
Thank you. This means the world to me.
Okay. I mean, so far this is just like a
It's
day in
been
the life
nice
of...
having you around, Kassandra. But I feel bad. All these years apart, and you've spent most of your time with Arion.
Yeah, but she's
Let's
had
get
more fun
away
with
from
you.
all this, just you and me. There is a market in Teyer. I haven't been to in ages. There's food and wine and music.
An evening alone sounds perfect. But what about Arion?
Don't worry about him. All you need to worry about is meeting me in Teyer.
I should find out what Anais likes before our evening together.
Man, people really really are loosey-goosey about their kids back then, aren't they?
Anais never told me she made honey.
Okay, so she makes honey. I think I saw another one. Ah, there it is.
So this is where Anais keeps her wine. Smells strong. I'm getting lightheaded just sniffing it.
Okay, so strong wine and honey. Oh, there we go.
Anais must have a lifetime supply of olives stashed
And
here.
olives. Okay. So honey, wine, strong wine, and olives. That's I don't see any way I could combine those three. I mean, a martini is alcohol and olives, right? They have olives in them, but I feel like that's not a thing in this in ancient Greece. Although it would be fucking hilarious, and I don't think that there's honey involved in it. I mean, there is honey wine, which obviously could very easily be a thing, but I don't know where the... Well, I mean, wine's made from fruits. Is olive a fruit? Can you get olive wine? That sounds like it would be gross. But then again, the alcohol kind of cuts a lot of the flavor of anything out, so... Like, I can't imagine drinking olive juice, but you throw some alcohol in it, and who knows, maybe it would be good. Be weird, for sure, but doesn't mean it wouldn't be good. And then, you know, you'd put the honey in it to get a little sweeter taste. So, I mean, maybe, who knows? I don't know. I've never eaten olives, so I couldn't even begin to imagine what that would taste like. Alright. I'm assuming that those three things are going to come into play. The fact that I had, like, the quest marker was over here means that I could potentially have skipped actually searching the property. and just came straight here, but then I wouldn't have had knowledge, right? Because I'm assuming that they're going to give me options at times, and I'm going to have to make a choice. So I'm going to have to remember that.
Let's find something to eat and drink, shall we? The merchants have the most delicious selections, and tonight, I'll leave the decision-making to you.
Of course. Oh my. That's not me, by the way. I actually have to walk this slow.
Remember when we used to steal food from the markets of Kefalonia?
We could steal from this one, for old time's sake.
Always the troublemaker.
Is there like a... You know, I have a hard time believing that people just danced in the streets as much as they do. Like, without like a festival or something, like... Right?
Welcome, my friends. I have a wonderful selection of wines for you and the lovely lady. Only the finest grapes from the finest vineyards. Do
God,
you
Cassandra's
prefer your
tall.
wines dry, sweet, or strong?
You've been all over the world. You must know all the best wines.
This woman is a single mother who runs her own farm. She likes her wine strong.
You know me too well. Strong wine is the best wine.
Okay. So we got that. I don't know how the honey is going to come into play then, because I really expected... Because, I mean, sweet wine, right, would have made sense with the honey, but... Because, I mean, she makes honey and she has a bunch of wine. She could combine the two herself.
Everything
But-
smells so delicious. My mouth is watering.
Yeah, I still don't know how the honey and olives is going to come into this, though, because I don't know of anything where those two things would be together in a type of food. And I don't see you eating
Smell
either
that?
one separately.
That's the tastiest food in all of the year. Tell me, what will it be? We have leg of lamb with rice and olives, roast chicken with fresh vegetables, and slow-cooked goat stew.
Oh, decisions.
We'll take the lamb with olives, please.
Oh, I love olives. I'm going to devour this meal. And then I'm going to devour you.
Oh my. Okay, well, there's the olive. See, now that makes more sense. So now the question is how is the... I guess a dessert, maybe, with honey in it? That would make sense, right? There's a lot of desserts that have honey. I mean, you can make fried ice cream, and then you're supposed to drizzle honey over it before you serve it.
I can't tell
Also,
you
by
how
the way,
much I
not
needed
actually
this.
fried. It's made with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, actually. It's super easy to make. Because I can't really... Yeah, I don't know. This is nice. I like little breaks like this. Like I was talking about the animes earlier, and the recent Death March was my favorite one I've watched so far. I'm not that far into Rise and Shield here. I'm only 4 into it, so by all means it could change. But because in Death March they had a lot of stuff broken up. Like they had the action episodes broken up by like just like the everyday life kind of episodes, and it was just really nice to have those episodes in there, you know?
Welcome! If you've got sweet teeth, then I've got sweet treats for those teeth. What will it be? Grape pudding with walnuts, fresh strawberries with cream, or baked pears with a honey glaze?
Yum! Choose wisely. I love sweets.
The pears sound delicious.
Homer called them gifts from the gods, but it's the honey that makes them truly divine.
Aha, nailed it. So yeah, I'm assuming that if you go there beforehand, then you get the same options. It's just like you as the player
Tonight
wouldn't know
was
which to
perfect.
choose.
You knew exactly what I wanted. Now, tell me what it is that you want.
Let me show you.
See, now, what I was thinking when, like, because I assumed because of the issues that they had with the DLC, I kind of assumed that when you started this quest, you would go and you would meet someone and you would get a choice. It'd be like, oh, I got this letter from my old friend on from Kefalonia, right? And then, like, you would get a choice between, like, a couple of names or something.
God, what happened to you?
Bandits! They came and took everything. I tried to protect the house, but they were too big.
You shouldn't have tried to fight them. Anything they took can be replaced. But I can't replace you.
This wouldn't have happened if you had trained me to be a warrior.
You're right. They would have killed you
You'll be
because you
all
would have
right.
fought back more.
Just a few scratches.
You're right. He's safe now, and that's what matters.
Kassandra, there is something I need to tell you.
Anything.
Having you here was the first time I felt joy since my husband died. I hoped you were still the same person I loved back on Kefalonia. And that if you felt the same, there'd be a place for you here.
Anais.
The fact that you listened to me and didn't teach Arion to fight shows me you're someone I can trust. I would love it if you stayed with us.
I love you, Anais. I've always loved you. But
I know. You always hated staying in one place. Couldn't wait to get off Kefalonia.
you were my favorite part of that island. But it's time for me to go.
I understand. Just know that whenever you are in Arcadia, you'll always be welcome here with open arms.
Alright, and then there's that, I guess. So that was good, but like, okay, so that was a decent DLC. I really liked it. That was a good story. But like I was saying before, what I expected to happen was, since like you got a letter, I didn't read the letter, to come here. I kind of figured that you would meet with someone and be like, oh, I got this letter, and then like they'd ask you, it's like, who was it, right? And then you get a choice, right? That was some kind of descriptor that would let you tell whether it was a guy or a girl, and then depending on what you chose, that's what would show up, right? It's like, oh, it's this guy I knew or this girl I knew from whatever, right? And then like that would be how it would determine who was there. Because like I said, I assumed since they got all that flack for making you go into a straight relationship in the Legacy of the First Blade, which, you know, they got shit for it, even though the whole point of it was that you had a kid. But then after, and I thought that was stupid. And then, like, you know, I played it and I'm like, all right, you're focusing on the wrong part. Yes, it was forced, but whatever. I talked about all that in that DLC. I kind of figured that it would be weird if they did that here, and yet they did it anyway. But I guess because you don't stay with them, they figured it would be fine. I mean, and you get the options where it's like you don't have to have like the romantic relationship with them at all. It could just be a friend. But yeah, so that's it for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say that I haven't said already. I mean, the game was great. The main game was great. The combat was just a straight improvement over Origins. The endings to the stories, to the three different endings to the main game, were all right, but I wish that they had taken out the stuff about Atlantis at the end of the cult quest line, and I wish that they had mixed the cult and the Odyssey quest line together, or the cult and the family quest lines a bit more, so that they ended at the same time, because it just didn't make as much sense with the way they did that. It was very obvious who the cult leader was, like, very early on. But yeah, like, main game wise, I mean, I kind of wish that the main campaign had taken you a bit more places. I guess technically the cult one did, because I think there was at least one cultist on every island. But obviously, it wasn't technically like the main story is the family. It's the family story, and that didn't take you to all the ones, I guess. But if you do the cult one and the Atlantis one, that does take you, I think, to all the rest of the islands to get the different cultists in that. I wish that the Legacy of the First Blade DLC was a lot better. I wish that that had been something that they had worked into the main game, so that the relationship could have been built up longer with your partner showing up. I can't remember dude's name. Nicola? No, that's your dad's name. I don't remember his name. But with your partner showing up more often throughout the quest lines as you're progressing, and then they could have actually worked like your family and who is still alive and everything into it. The fact that, and like I said, the fact that Cassandra gives away her kid at the end doesn't make much sense, considering that she has a house in Sparta with Myrene and Nikolaos and Stentor. I don't know if Stentor would live there, and Deimos. Like, you know, that kid would be way better defended than with whatever, the old man leaving. So, I mean, like, if they had worked that into the main storyline, you could have had a much more satisfying conclusion to that. You could have had it where the choices made much more sense, where if, like, you made all the decisions throughout it, where, like, you ended up with, I'm assuming, all of your family members dying, then she gives away the kid, or even if you ended up with, like, a few, like, half of them dying or something, then, you know, yeah, she gives away her kid because she doesn't trust herself to raise him without death, because, you know, all of her family died, and then, you know, her new family died, so it's like, I can't raise this kid. So, like, you know, they could have had it be much more impactful than it was. With the Fate of Atlantis DLC, they did really well with it. I like the fact that they brought in Brightest, they brought in Leonidas, they brought in even Elpenor, and they brought in Phoebe. That was a really good one. How they handled that. Like I said at the end of the last part, I wish that they had made your choices make a little bit more, like they didn't have to have the end of that DLC be the sinking of Atlantis. They could have had your choices make more sense. It would have been better if they weren't, if they didn't explain it away as Cassandra was living through memories of people who had been doing some of this stuff, and like some of it was obviously made up specifically for her because it involved people from her life. If they would have just had a different way of doing it, whereas it's like, I don't want to say time travel, because if they introduce time travel, it would really fuck with shit. But once again, it was Atlantis. It was like the seat of Isu power. They very well could have had some other explanation as to why she was going through all this. And the fact that, like, well, like the two of them were like the underworld, like the first two were obviously places you go to in the Greek world after death. So they could have just had those places be those places. And then once again, it's the Atlantis part that really fucked with it, because there's no real way to do a living Atlantis without some kind of time travel, or, you know, the way they did it here. But it's, like I said, it would have been nice if they would have had a different resolution to that. I'm kind of curious if you can, in Layla's timeline, if you can actually bring the doctor lady back to life with the staff. I don't know. I didn't choose that option, or either of the two options that might have brought her back. Just because, like, the whole point of the Atlantis DLC, like, was that Cassandra had to, you know, accept the people that have been lost and everything, right? So that's why I didn't choose that one. The Lost Tales were all pretty good. I mean, there were some that were obviously better than others. But they were all free DLC, so they're just extra content, and they're like about, and like this one was the shortest one. At like, I mean, we're at 43 minutes, but I've been talking for a while about it anyway already, or about the rest of the game in that. So like, I mean, it was, and it was still good. It was a decent one. It was a very down to earth, just like short little everyday life story, which you don't get in a lot of stuff. Like, a lot of times they, you know, they need to do bigger, they need to do better, but all these Lost Tales, there were very few of them that were like, because they were Lost Tales, because they were a free DLC, they couldn't make them like hugely impactful. But because they didn't, because they focused on like a small little story, it still made them really good. Because, and especially like if I had done them as I came across them, it might have been a bit better, because it would have broken up all the action ones where it's like, oh, go kill this one, go. It's like now you're actually playing like a little story, because a lot of the quest lines obviously revolved around hunting down certain people. But like I said, there's, I think, one more that they've said is coming out. I don't know if we'll play it, because I don't know if I want to keep a game this big on my Xbox just sitting there on the off chance that another DLC comes out for it. But yeah, I would say overall, I would give Odyssey base game probably 9 out of 10, because there is obviously like Like obviously I've been playing on an easier difficulty, not on one of the hard difficulties, and the assassin, warrior, and hunter damage thing I don't really care for because it kind of forces you to choose one. Obviously with the loadout system, you don't have to be as choosy because you can upgrade it, but then that gives you even more equipment that you have to change. And once you make it to the end of the game and you have the sets that you want to keep using and just upgrading, that costs a lot of resources and money, which I guess is just a resource. So like I ended up just sticking with my assassin gear throughout the whole Atlantis DLC because I didn't have the funds or the resources to I think I actually had the funds, I just didn't have the resources to fully upgrade all my different armor sets for each damage type. So I ended up just sticking with my assassin damage throughout it all. And I know that there's other people who just stick with their warrior damage and just run through everything. And I never heard of anybody, because like I do read on forums every now and then, and I've heard people say it's like, oh, you just warrior damage and spear and you win. It's like, obviously I went mostly assassin and you fucking win. And with like the way the hunter, like when I had my hunter set there's a couple videos there where I played as basically pure hunter and I fucking won. It's, you know, like I like that every playstyle is viable, but I don't like how trying to combine them like severely weakens you. Like obviously like it makes you more robust, and if you get the demigod armor from Deimos in the cult quest line, then obviously you get that one where it's plus damage to all abilities, but it still doesn't, like, you know, all of your damages are still going to be lower overall than if you just specialize in one. So yeah, I'd say it's a solid 9 out of 10. It's really fucking good. As for the DLCs, like the Lost Tales are obviously very easy, they're very quick, but they're free, so it doesn't matter. You know, so I mean they're 10 out of 10 because it's a free DLC, it's free content, so you can't say bad things about free. As for like the Legacy of the First Blade, I would say chapter 1 is probably a solid 7 out of 10. Chapter 2 is probably a good 4 out of 10, and chapter 3 is a 1 out of 10. It just fucking ruined everything. Fate of Atlantis, though, I'd say it's a solid 8 out of 10. Slightly worse than the main game. I love the locations, I love the differences between it, but the fact that they were recreations and memories instead of actually going there kind of lessens the effect. You had the stuff with Layla during it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And the new stuff that you got in it, like the extra, like the upgraded abilities, that was really cool. But once again, like a lot of them changed where it's like, for example, like the Spear of Leonidas ability, where like Cassandra pulls out the spear and it's like all glowy and she uses it. That is fantastic for me because I was using assassin damage, and that changes it to assassin damage. But that is a warrior ability based on warrior damage. So somebody using a warrior, that enhancement would actually screw them over, because that would then start taking from their assassin damage, which granted would still probably be higher than their warrior damage, but it's point is that it's there. But once again, somebody like me playing as an assassin, that was fantastic because it let me take that ability and use it myself. And a lot of the abilities are like that, right? A lot of the enhancements are abilities that are specifically for a certain playstyle, but then you get the enhancement and it changes it to be used with a different damage type, and it increases the possibilities of combinations of that. Like I actually changed out a lot of my abilities based on the enhancements for it. As for like the achievements in the game, they were fine. I mean, 10 out of 10 achievements. Like there was nothing really, like there was a couple of grindy ones, but even then they were very, like there wasn't even a complete all locations like in Origins, and that was like the grindiest achievement in Origins that, you know, granted I was happy to do it and I still ended up completing all the locations in this game anyway, I think. So I mean, I would have got it anyway, but yeah, like I can't think off the top of my head of any achievement where I was like, oh my god, just why is this an achievement? I mean, it was fine. The stuff with the boat was great. Like overall, it was a solid game, and I know a lot of people give it flack because like it has microtransactions in it, but not once was a microtransaction required by me. Not once was I ever like, oh man, I need that. And like the reason people bitch about it is because it's like not only is there cosmetics, but you also have the weapons in there. But it's like the weapons you get in the game are good. Like, because like I've looked at some of those weapons, and while the special abilities, like the special engravings that are on them, are decent, the ones that you get later in the game and that are significantly better. Yes, if you bought those, you would have a easier time at the beginning, but you would end up in the same spot as everybody who didn't buy those. Like I looked through them all, and there were some of the cosmetics where it's like, man, I'd like that. Like, especially since that they don't give you very much for Phobos skins in this one. It would have obviously been nice. I wish the animals, at least when they were a companion, like that whole skill tree there, it just let you get different animals. And I kind of wish that they had made it so that instead of getting different, or as long as with getting different animals, that there would have been like another tier to it connected to it. That would increase the animals by themselves. Like you have the one engraving that gives them double health, I think, and then like increased damage. And if you don't have that, your animals are worthless anyway. And I mean, some of them, like the wolves, are fairly worthless. Even like the lions are fairly worthless. The lynx and the bear are the only two that are good. And the bear is even not all that good unless you have that engraving on it to increase his health. The only reason the lynx is good is because it'll jump on their back and they can't hit it during the fight, right? Like it'll jump on their back and just straight up kill them. The stuff with Icaros is good. I mean, it's about the same as it was in Origins. All of the equipment, I like the fact that you have armor now and armor sets, whereas in Origins you just had, like, I like how they did the equipment, because like in Origins, obviously you just, like, your armor wasn't really your armor. It was just a different outfit to wear, which wasn't bad, but the fact that you actually got increased stats in that from your armor in this one makes a lot more sense than it did in Origins, which obviously just had the weapons. All the different weapon classes and that were good in this. Because like you, obviously they all worked the way that they should have. Like I said, all the abilities were good. There were some that were kind of stinkers. And then there was obviously ones that were not usable unless you were specifically doing that play style. Like there were some abilities where it's like, unless you're a warrior, this is worthless, or unless you're an assassin, this is worthless, or unless you're going bows, this is worthless. But obviously as you level up, and you know, because like you only have so many skill slots. So like I had one skill slot that was warrior abilities, one that was assassin abilities, and then your archer ones are separate. So I mean, they have it set up, but at the same time, there's more than 4 abilities for each play style, and to change them out to use them would obviously be a big pain. But at the same time, I cannot personally think of a different way to do that without it being on a computer. Like, this was obviously a game made for consoles, made for controllers, because I imagine that's where the majority of Assassin's Creed fans play their games. I don't know that. It's not like I have stats in front of me, but I would imagine so. So I mean, there's only so much you can do with a controller. It's like the same reason why a lot of MMOs are on consoles and that are like severely basic compared to other ones, like with very few skills in that, because there's only so much you can do with a controller. So yeah, that is it for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We finished the current last Lost Tale, and had a big review at the end of it, so that's good. But yeah, that'll be it for Assassin's Creed. I don't know what'll be replacing this. I really, really don't. I've been looking at the games that I have installed, and like I thought about switching just next week, switching Far Cry 5 to the 3 days a week, and then having something else replace it for the 2. But it's going pretty fast as just the 2 days a week. So I mean, yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that, probably because I haven't been doing the side quests in it because they're not very good. So yeah, I don't know what'll be out next Monday. I have some ideas of games that I'd like to do, and then but we'll have to wait and see. So thanks everybody for joining me on this Odyssey through ancient Greece and some Greek underworld and Atlantis itself. And I will see you next time.